There's one mistake almost all new gardeners make concerning transplanting their plants out in the garden, and that is not hardening them off first. Today's video, we're going to be talking about what hardening off is, how you do it, and why it's important. Stick around. Well, hello backyard vegetable gardeners. Welcome to the Backyard Vegetable Gardening channel. Today is Monday, March the 4th, 2024, and I hope you're having a great day. Well guys, I do apologize. I botched up the intro. I forgot to mention that this video is part of the Beginner Gardener series where I try to explain to new gardeners all the things that I wish I would have knew the first couple of years that I started growing a garden. And I do apologize. When I recorded the first one this morning, it was lovely, beautiful. Again, the birds were singing, it was great. And just like on the video about planting the onion starts that we haven't released yet, this is that time of day where the traffic is crazy. And most of the time it's peaceful except for when people are going to work and when people are getting off work. And I'm recording this video around 5 o'clock, so everybody's getting off work now and there's loads of traffic. So hopefully we'll get through this and I'll piece in the other parts of the video later. Well, it sure is a beautiful Monday morning here in North Carolina, 50 degrees at 10:30. What a great day to be outside. Well folks, just a quick video today. We're going to talk about one of the biggest mistakes new gardeners make concerning transplanting their plants, and that is not hardening off their plants. Well, if you're a new gardener, you probably are unfamiliar with what that is. What hardening off is we're going to gradually acclimate these young plants to the harsh reality of the real world outside. You know, indoors, they've been very well protected. Just a perfect growing environment. The temperature was not too hot, it wasn't too cold, had plenty of moisture, didn't have to worry about the harmful UV rays of the sun or any outdoor pest. We provided them a perfect environment to grow. Well, now we've got to take those little baby plants and put them outside, and they're going to get the full exposure of the sun, the wind, the morning temperature, the evening temperature, the rain. They're going to have to survive all of that stuff before they produce us a harvest. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our plants from the indoors early in the morning and we're going to put them in a nice shady spot. Now you see where I'm at beside my building here, there's plenty of shade. But if I take one step out, there's that sun. This location where I've got my seed starting bench, or my potting up bench, whatever you want to call it, is a perfect location for hardening off our plants. You see, I can take my plants outside in the morning and lay them here and they get this nice shade. Then in a few hours, they're going to start getting a little bit of sun and a little bit more sun. And then as the day goes on, the sun's going to be hid by some trees, so they're not going to be in the sun all day. Now, when it comes to hardening off your plants, you don't want to just take them outside and leave them out there all day. It's a process. Traditionally, people would go through a 7 to a 14-day process. But if you have a few days of overcast skies, you can greatly reduce the number of days that it takes to harden off your plants. Now, the way hardening off works is, we'll talk about the traditional method first. If you're going to do the 14-day method, you're going to take them out for an hour, bring them back in. Day 2, take them out 2 hours, bring them back in. And you do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're done. All right, all the way up till they've been outside all day. If you do the 7-hour method, you're gonna take them out 1 hour the first day, 2 hours the second day, 4 hours the next day, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, you get it. And at the 7th day, you're done. Well, these plants that I've got out here, and I'll go ahead and turn the camera around for you. These plants have already been hardened off for 3 days. I've had good overcast skies, and last night was their first night outside. And just look how lovely they are. Everything's looking great. All those nice strawberry plants that we bought the other week, looking great. The lettuce, the broccoli, more lettuce, nasturtiums, whole lot more broccoli. It's all doing plenty fine. But like I said, we had 3 good days of overcast skies. The temperature never got above 62, 63 degrees. Just great conditions to harden off these young plants. Now where you're at, your environment, you might do better off doing the 7-day method or the 14-day method. But if you have a few days of overcast skies and the weather isn't too cold and it isn't too hot, it's a great time to do it. Now in respect to cool season crops and warm season crops. All of these are cooler season crops. Now those strawberries, of course, they're warm season crops. They produce in June and all through the season. But all these brassicas, these lettuces, they can handle a good amount of cold. They can even handle light frost. If you was talking about cucumbers or melons or tomatoes or peppers or anything like that, you're gonna want to wait a little while before you start getting these outside. Now, where you're at, you might have the perfect environment. Where I'm at in North Carolina, I'm not even gonna start my seed starts for my tomatoes or my pepper plants till this week. So I'm gonna keep them inside 6 to 8 weeks before I even have to worry about any of this stuff. So after about the 6 week mark, that's when I'm gonna start hardening off some of those tomato plants. I'm gonna wait till the nights get a little bit warmer before I even start that hardening off process with those types of plants. But with these types of plants, you don't have nothing to worry about, not where we live. Now folks, you wanna make sure that the daytime temperatures are somewhere above 45 degrees. That's the perfect time to start doing this. And even with your warmer season plants, you know, 45, 50 degrees during the daytime, that's pretty good. But it's the temperatures at night that you're gonna have to worry about the most, especially when it comes to the end of that hardening off process. Just a general rule of thumb, what I like to do, now you can do whatever you wanna do. I like to wait till my nights are at least above 40 degrees before I start any of this. It just makes more sense to me. I have less chance of those plants experiencing transplant shock. And that's one of the things we need to talk about. That's exactly why we're doing this. We're making these plants healthy and strong and able to survive well when we plant them out in our garden. A lot of new gardeners, they'll go out and they'll buy these starter plants from the big box stores or the local nurseries, and they'll take them right from the nursery, greenhouse or whatever, they'll put them in the ground, and they find out a lot of those plants die. Well, the reason was they weren't hardened off properly. Even when you buy them from a nursery or a greenhouse, you've got to pay attention to where they're at. If they're inside that greenhouse still, they've probably not been hardened off. But if they've got them like on a rolling rack or outside on some tables, you can pretty much expect that they've at least started hardening off. So I would recommend that even if you buy them from a nursery or a greenhouse, you still want, if you can ask them if they've been hardened off. But if you don't have that opportunity, take you at least a few days to get these plants ready to be planted in the garden so they don't experience such a shock and they have a better chance of living. So if you want to avoid one of the biggest mistakes new gardeners make concerning transplant out in the garden, be sure to harden off your plants, folks. Don't forget that this video is part of the Beginner Gardener series. I'm gonna try to link it right up here. If you're a new gardener or you've been thinking about starting a garden for the first time, this little playlist will give you a good introduction of all the things that I wish I would have knew those first couple years that I started growing a garden. Whether you're needing to know how to start seeds, when to start your seeds, how to pot them up, how to transplant them out in the garden, that's what this series is going to be about. We're going to try to help you with all the information that would have helped me greatly had I known them those first few years. Well guys, that's going to do it for this video. I sure hope it was a blessing to you. And don't forget, if you enjoyed it or you learned something, I'd sure appreciate it if you hit that like button. If you like gardening related content, hit that subscribe button. Sure would be a blessing to us. And folks, it's always my pleasure to be with you. I sure hope you're having a great day. See you on the next one.